Sunday, December 27, 2020. Time for a long road trip heading all the way out to St. Simon's Island, Georgia, with a few stops along the way. Had the camper, the kayak, the bike all set up and ready to go. First stop was Fontainebleau State Park and setting up the camper for the parents. And then it was on to my spot. Fontainebleau State Park is a beautiful place out in Mandeville, Louisiana, just on the north side of Lake Pontchartrain. So many beautiful spots and access to some great fishing and really get great bike riding. First morning was Monday and I was out in Irish Bayou. You can see it's a beautiful morning, some calm water. Was fishing with Henry, owner of the Big Fisherman Seafood Market right on Magazine Street in New Orleans. Super nice guy and great to talk to while we were fishing. I think we helped each other find some good fish. You can see I loaded up with 4 bass, 2 redfish, and 6 really big trout. And I think Henry did even better on the trout. It was a great day. Thanks a lot, Henry. Next was some bike riding along the shores of Mandeville and Madisonville near the St. Tammany Trace bike path that runs near the campground. This is Bayou Castine, my first time stopping there. Met a great guy, Mr. Burns. Gonna meet him again someday on Bayou Castine. Then it was on to see a little bit of the history along the shoreline. The Battle of Lake Pontchartrain, a good little marker there. Beautiful sight onto Lake Pontchartrain. You can see some beautiful, beautiful homes all along that shoreline heading out near Madisonville. Really nice area. Well, after another great day visiting with the family at the campground and some good bike riding, it was time for a Tuesday night departure heading to Marianna, Florida. The Henson House Bed and Breakfast was going to split my drive up about exactly halfway. So 4 hours, 31 minutes, and about 310 miles. That bed and breakfast is surely a nice spot. Very cool little room called the porch room. They were so nice and kind, and a separate private bathroom, and of course, as always, a delicious breakfast in the morning. They really had the place set up nice, looking very, very pretty during the Christmas holidays. And that led to a Wednesday morning drive all the way to St. Simon's Island. Another 4 hours and 30 minutes and about 310 miles again. So fortunate the camper was handling great and driving along really well. Was glad to get to St. Simon's Island, Georgia.
You'll arrive. Your destination will be on your left.
Holy cow, is this a heck of a place to camp? The Herd P. Gallus
A
Campground.
good friend Herd was kind enough to set me up with one of the best spots ever, right in his own backyard. Quickly set the camper up and had some good company with John and David and was ready for some good adventures the rest of the way in St. Simon's Island. Again, couldn't have been a nicer spot in that backyard. It looked like it was made for that camper to fit in. So right away I cooked them up a big batch of crawfish étouffée, and we had a fantastic first night. Right out in the yard in the back there was a good setup for some cornhole, good battles to commence. It was a great first night and ready for some much needed good sleep. And you can see the very next morning, quite a nice view out of the bunk from the pop-up camper. It was next into some fishing with my really good friends, the Glenn family. Captain Mike took us out on his boat and we had a really nice time. Will and Kelly, John, David. It was such a nice trip. We caught a few fish. There's a flounder. John pulled up a good trout, and we did a lot of nice exploring. You can see Captain Mike there along the shoreline. It's a nice spot out there in St. Simon's Island with a lot of good little canals. And great to see my old friends, some of my greatest friends of all time. Just a beautiful day, first day out in St. Simon's. Had to snap some great photos to commemorate the camping spot. Got David and John and of course Marley. It was nice to spend the time with these guys. The next day led into some good tennis with John, and then we followed it up with a little bit of basketball.
All right, we found this 13-foot goal. LB Junior coming in crooked. He overplays. Whoa! All right, LB part 2. I lost him. Yeah, it was worth it. He got all of that, fellas.
Well, not quite as skilled as back in the day, and lucky to come out of that without an injury. Anyhow, the next morning was Village Creek down in St. Simons. Great area for kayak fishing, hoping to find a few trout. I managed 5 and some really good touring around. Here's a couple of quick clips. The minimum size limit in Georgia for speckled trout is 14 inches. This one was a little over 15, and I managed another one right around 14 that I threw back. The others were a little smaller. Not quite as big and heavy as the fish we have in Louisiana. I'm not sure if it's due to the time of the year or there's not as much bait for them to gorge on. Anyhow, it was a nice day. I was using the same jigs I use in Louisiana, matrix shad and down south lures. Only had to upsize the jig head, much heavier, 5/16 at least, to handle the greater currents and tides they have there. A tidal change down there of about 8 to 9 feet some days. Really tricky, and you have to be careful not to get stuck back in those canals. That water comes flooding out of there. So here's again another clip of another trout caught. It wasn't the best day for catching, but it sure was nice to explore some new waters, as always. I think I was hungrier than the trout on this day. It was nice cruising along, though, catching the tide falling out. You can see another little small trout here, and that was kind of the wrap of the day. It was nice to get back to the camper again and have a good night. You can see the marsh waters back there, tons of little canals, and Village Creek area. St. Simon Island has a little boat launch down there. And again, you have to be real careful to time it just right with the tides. It ends up drying up and you can't access it when the tides are down. Could not have a better location to put the camper. Perfect little spot on some pine straw, right next to a nice little patch of grass that serves as our cornhole field. Got some bees being harvested back here as well, and just a beautiful little area with more of that brackish water back behind us. So there it is. Great place to stay for a week or so. Thank you, Herd P. The trip also included a great Georgia football bowl victory shared with the Glenn and Ware families, and a fantastic camper lunch with the Ware family. Really glad to have both of those happen. Yep, it's going to be hard to beat this camping spot in all of 2021, but I surely will try. Here's the little bee harvesting, and Herd P with some expert skills. Gotta love that outfit. I think that's going to be me at Halloween next year. I was finally able to get out into those little neighborhood ponds, those brackish ponds, and sure enough, they weren't kidding. Baby tarpon, a new species, and that is always a special treat to catch a new species of fish, especially right from the shore there. I was using some little slabalicious crappie jigs that I use in Louisiana, and also some of my regular saltwater jigs. Quite fun. What a beautiful night. Again, we fired up some more cornhole. Couldn't have a better spot out there. Lots of good fun and lots of good visiting. Led into the next day and morning with John and Marley. We went out to a new spot, Gould's Inlet, and launched out there right along the marsh in the Atlantic and had a good day of exploring around. Unfortunately, didn't find any fish, but it was really nice, a great day of weather, and Marley got real comfortable ultimately on the kayak and had a great day with us as well.
Really cool.
Here's a little
out
more
here.
footage.
We're back in a very narrow marsh canal, and the tide has started falling. And so we are just cruising out of here without almost any effort other than steering. Moving the plants, the marsh reeds, and look at Marley looking nice and comfortable. Hey Marley, say hello to the camera, Marley. We are just sliding through here. What a day.
So many great pictures from the trip. This is one of my favorites. John tucked in there in the marsh grass with Marley taking a little snoozle in the background. We also stopped along the sandbars and Was able to let Marley run out there a lot. That water's actually about 20 feet deep right out in the middle there. Then it was on to a good lunch. This might have been the next day. Herd joined us, and they fired up a little cornhole on the outside back patio area, nice fire pit, and one heck of a good healthy lunch. Some very fresh shrimp over coconut rice with a little seaweed slaw. Here's a little more of the beauty of St. Simon's, both old and new. Love the little cottages. Could live in any one of these. Be so fantastic. If you're into nature and the beauty of trees and that moss, of course, you would love the place. And like I said, the people are super nice. Lots of activity, outdoor cycling and running, and of course all the water activities. Very, very pretty. It's one of my favorite little homes right there on one of those lake little pond canals in the neighborhood. Well, it was finally time to depart. Not really looking forward to that long drive, but I think I would try to knock it out all 11 hours heading back from St. Simon's Island to Breaux, Louisiana. Man, I will miss this camping spot. Again, thanks a lot to Herd, and thanks a lot to all my friends who joined me on the visit. Really fun. Hope you enjoyed the video. Thank you for watching.